All right, get this. Today we're talking badminton, but not just any badminton.
No, not just your backyard barbecue kind of badminton.
We are going deep into the world of professional stringing.
Yeah, professional stringing. Who knew it was so intense, right?
Seriously, it's way more than I ever imagined. And trust me, I thought I knew a thing or two about badminton.
Well, get ready to have your mind blown because we're diving into a special certification.
Oh yeah, tell him.
It's called the PBST.
The PBST. Okay, that sounds serious.
Professional Badminton String and Tension Consultant.
So we're not talking about the kid down the street who strings rackets in his basement.
No. These are the pros, the people who can look at a player's game and know exactly what kind of setup will, take them to the next level.
It's like having a superpower, but for badminton strings.
It really is. It's about understanding the science behind how string type and tension impact a player's entire game, their whole game.
So it's not just about having the fanciest racket or the most expensive strings.
Nope, it's about that perfect match, the synergy between the player, the racket, and you guessed it, the strings.
Okay, so this isn't just some weekend course you take for fun.
Oh, absolutely not. This is the big leagues, rigorous exams, both written and practical.
Okay, so what does that even look like? Give me the rundown.
Think deep dives into string types, tension settings, the whole shebang.
So it's like becoming a badminton scientist.
Kind of. You have to understand the why behind every string, every knot, every millimeter of tension.
Okay, I'm already feeling overwhelmed and we're just getting started.
And get this, a whopping 80% of the certification hinges on acing this theoretical exam.
80%, you're kidding.
Nope, this exam covers everything from string material to how tension affects a drop shot versus a smash.
Wow, they really don't mess around with this certification, huh?
They're serious about their strings, let me tell you.
Okay, so 80% theory. What about the other 20? What's the hands-on part look like?
All right, imagine this. You're in a mock consultation with a pro player. Their game is off, their smashes are falling flat, they're at their wits' end.
Oh man, the pressure.
Right. And you have to figure out why by analyzing their setup. Are the strings shot? Is the tension off? It's intense.
I would be sweating bullets in that exam room.
Oh, for sure. It's the ultimate test of your PBST knowledge.
So we're talking about more than just knowing how to thread a string through a racket. This is about understanding how those strings interact with every single shot, every single one.
It's about the physics of the game, the way the string bed reacts to the shuttlecock, the transfer of energy from the racket to the bird. It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, you're speaking my language now. This is where it gets really interesting.
And that's what makes this PBST certification so unique. It's about going beyond the basics.
So it's not just about knowing your strings or knowing tension. It's about mastering that combination, right? Finding that sweet spot where they work together to create magic on the court.
Exactly. It's like a dance. You need the right partners, the right moves, and perfect timing to make it sing.
And when it all comes together, boom, magic on the court.
Pure magic. And the best part, this approach helps players of all levels, from beginners just starting out to seasoned pros gunning for a championship.
So no matter where you are in your badminton journey, the right string and tension combo can make a difference.
Absolutely. It's like having a secret weapon, but instead of a weapon, it's strings, and instead of secret, it's science.
I like it. So does this certification, do they get into how this knowledge plays out across different playing styles?
Oh, absolutely. That's a key part of the PBST approach.
Would you set up a defensive player differently than, say, an aggressive player who relies on powerful smashes?
100%. It's called player profiling, and it's all about understanding how to adjust recommendations based on playing style, skill level, even physical attributes.
So if I'm a young player and I come to you and say, I want to be just like my badminton idol, I need their exact setup.
We'd have a chat. I'd say, hold on there. Let's look at what's best for you, for your game right now.
Right, because what works for one player might not work for another, even if they have similar styles.
Exactly, and this is where the PBST certification goes even further, because it also covers, get this, the assessment of a player's long-term development.
So you're not just setting them up for their next game, you're thinking about how their game might evolve over time.
Exactly, it's like having a personal string and tension coach guiding you along your badminton journey.
That's a great way to put it now. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the foundation.
Right, you can't just jump to the PBST. There are prerequisites, my friend.
Of course, got to crawl before you can walk. walk before you can string like a pro.
Exactly. You need a deep understanding of stringing and tension, and that means first earning 2 other certifications.
2 more. All right, lay it on me. What are we talking?
The Certified String Advisor, the CSAB, and the Certified Tension Advisor, the CTAB.
Okay, CSAB, CTAB, got it. So you're saying these are like the building block.
Exactly. You need a deep understanding of how different strings are constructed, how they react to tension, what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Okay, so you're not just like pulling strings off a rack. You need to know the ins and outs of each one.
You got it. And the CTA, that dives into the physics of tension, how it affects the shuttlecock speed, the feel of the racket, the player's control.
It's amazing how much goes on behind the scenes, even in something as seemingly simple as stringing a badminton racket.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface here, trust me.
So tell me, what kind of knowledge are we talking about for those initial certifications, the CSAB and the CTAB? I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, and it already sounds incredibly detailed.
Oh, it definitely is. Take the CSAB, for example. To get certified, you're tested on everything. I mean, everything, from the different materials used in strings to the various string constructions.
Okay, so break that down for me. What kind of materials are we talking about here?
Well, you've got your natural gut, your nylon, your polyester, each with its own set of characteristics.
And then the construction, what's that all about?
Think braided, multi-filament, solid core. It all affects the string's durability, its ability to hold tension, how much power it generates.
It's like choosing the right wood for a piece of furniture. You got to know what you're working with.
That's a great analogy. And then there's the CTAB, which, oh boy, it delves into the science of tension.
All right, hit me with it. What's the science behind tension?
We're talking about how different tension levels affect the string bed's deflection, the size and location of the sweet spot, and the overall control a player has.
So it's not just about tighter strings equals more control. You need to understand why, the physics behind it all.
Precisely. It's about those minute adjustments that can significantly impact a player's game. Like, are we talking a 1/16 of an inch here? Is that what you're telling me?
We might be. That's how precise this gets. It's like having a secret weapon in your racket bag, but instead of a weapon, it's tension. And instead of a bag, it's knowledge.
That's a great way to put it. And the PBST certification takes all of that existing knowledge from the CSAB and CTAB and then layers on this deep understanding of how to tailor those elements to individual players.
So it's like those are the prerequisite courses you need to ace before you can even walk into the PBST arena.
They're not messing around with the certification. These guys are the string whisperers, the tension gurus of the badminton world.
Okay, so once you've got those basics down, let's talk about tackling the PBST itself. What exactly is covered in that exam, and what does it take to pass? Okay, so you aced those first 2 certifications, you've got the knowledge, you walk into that PBST exam room, what's the vibe? What do you need to know to knock this thing out of the park?
All right, picture this. You've got this seasoned pro sitting across from you at their wits' end.
Okay, drama right out of the gate, I like it.
Their timing is off, smashes are hitting the net, they're just not playing like themselves.
So it's your job to play badminton detective, right?
Exactly. You gotta channel your inner Sherlock Holmes, but instead of a magnifying glass, you've got a tension calibrator.
Love it. So where do you even start? What's the first thing you do?
You listen, my friend, you listen.
Okay, so it's not just about the strings and the tension. It's about understanding the player's experience.
100%. You need the whole story. What's their training been like? New equipment. Heck, even their sleep schedule can throw things off.
So you're looking for clues beyond just the racket itself.
Exactly. It's all connected.
All right, so you've heard the player's woes. What's next?
Then it's time to examine the weapon of choice, that racket.
Let's see what we've got here, right?
What strings are they using? What's the tension like? How old are those strings? Even the best strings have a shelf life, you know?
It's like a car. Needs a tune-up every now and then, even if you're babying it.
Nailed it. And don't forget about storage, temperature, humidity. All that jazz can mess with tension.
So it's not just about stringing it once and forgetting about it. It's an ongoing process.
Maintenance is key, my friend. But let's get back to our frustrated pro. We've listened to their woes, checked out their setup. Now what?
Time to put on your PBST hat and start diagnosing the problem.
Exactly. I'm looking at their playing style, what they're feeling on the court. I'm asking specific questions.
Like what? Give me the inside scoop, Doc.
If they're lacking power, I might ask, how does the shuttlecock feel on your racket? Dead. Timing issues. We're talking about the sweet spot. Has it shifted, shrunk? It's about connecting those feelings to the strings.
So you're like a translator, but instead of languages, it's badminton and string science.
I like that. And based on all that intel, I craft a plan.
The PBST PBST prescription for a winning game.
Sometimes it's a simple tweak, bump up the tension a bit, maybe try a thinner gauge for more power.
Or a thicker gauge for more control and durability, right?
You know it. Or we get really fancy hybrid setup, different strings for mains and crosses.
Okay, now you're just showing off.
Hey, a PBST consultant's got to have options, right?
Yeah.
It's about finding that perfect balance for each player, because one size definitely does not fit all in the world of professional badminton.
It's like bespoke tailoring, but for badminton rackets.
Yes, love that analogy. But here's the thing. The work doesn't stop once they walk up with a freshly strung racket.
Oh, it's not a see ya later situation.
Definitely not. Follow-up is crucial. How's it feel now? Are we seeing those smashes land? It's a dialogue, an ongoing partnership to fine-tune that setup and get them performing their best.
So you're invested in their success. It's more than just a job.
It is. It's about helping athletes reach their full potential, and that's incredibly rewarding.
Speaking of potential, let's talk about the younger generation, the up-and-coming badminton stars. How does a PBST consultant approach those players?
The young guns, they're like sponges, soaking up knowledge and eager to improve.
But they might not know what they don't know, right?
Exactly. They might be rocking the same racket in strings they've had since they were kids, not realizing their equipment could be holding them back.
So it's about more than just stringing a racket. It's about educating them, opening their eyes to the possibilities.
We talk about different strings, the impact of tension, how the right setup can really make a difference in their game.
It's like showing them a whole new world, a world of string and tension magic.
And you have to be mindful of their physical development, too. Young bodies are still growing. You don't want to overload their muscles and tendons with a setup that's too demanding.
It's about striking that balance between pushing them and protecting them.
Absolutely. Start them off a bit lighter, lower tension, a more forgiving string, and adjust as they grow stronger.
Okay, wise PBST master. What other pearls of wisdom do you have for working with young players?
Well, you got to be their voice of reason sometimes, you know?
How so? What do you mean?
It's easy for them to get caught up in idolizing the pros, wanting that exact gear, thinking it'll magically transform their game overnight.
Right, because if it works for the best, it must work for me, right?
Exactly. And that's where a good PBST consultant steps in, explains that it's a process. They need to develop their own skills and strength gradually.
Manage those expectations, but keep that excitement alive.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between dreams and reality.
Now, let's talk about a tough situation. What if the problem isn't the stringing, even though the player is convinced it is?
That's where those people skills come into play.
More important than the tension wrench.
Sometimes honesty is the best policy. You have to be upfront with the player, explain that while their stringing might not be the main issue, it could still be a factor.
Okay, so you're not letting them off the hook entirely.
No, but you're also gently suggesting other areas they might explore. Grip, technique, footwork, the whole package.
You're like a badminton detective, piecing together all the clues.
I like that, and depending on the situation, I might even suggest they consult with a coach or a physical therapist.
It takes a village to raise a badminton champion.
It really does, and a good PBST consultant knows how to connect the dots, guide the player towards the right resources.
Because ultimately, it's about helping them achieve their goals, whatever those goals might be.
Exactly, and that's what makes this certification so special. It's not about claiming to be a miracle worker.
It's about being a trusted advisor, a problem solver, someone who genuinely cares about the game and the players.
100%. It's about passion, dedication, and a deep understanding of how those strings can impact a player's performance.
Okay, so we've covered the technical side, the player interaction side, but there's another aspect to this whole PBST thing, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole other side to this.
The business side, because even string whisperers need to pay rent, right?
You got it, and that's where things get really interesting.
All right, so you've got your PBST certification in hand. You're ready to turn your passion into a profession. Where do you even begin? We're back, ready to string together the final points in our PBST deep dive.
Time to talk business, because stringing skills alone won't pay the bills, right?
Even string whisperers got to make a living. So where does a newly minted PBS2 consultant even begin?
First things first, you got to find your niche, figure out who you're serving.
Okay, so you've got your certification, you're ready to rock, but are you targeting aspiring pros, coaching juniors, or catering to the weekend warriors?
Exactly. Your ideal client determines everything, from your services and pricing to how you market yourself, even where you set up shop.
Makes sense. So it's like, are you opening a boutique stringing studio or offering on-site services at tournaments?
Exactly. Think about it. Your approach to a seasoned pro is going to be different from how you guide a young player just starting out.
Absolutely. Different strokes for different folks. And speaking of strokes, what about marketing? How do you get the word out in the badminton world?
Word of mouth is huge. Attending tournaments, joining clubs, connecting with coaches, that's how you build those relationships.
Right. Because reputation is everything in this game.
It's not just about handing out business cards. It's about showcasing your expertise,
Right.
letting people see your passion for the craft.
Show, don't tell, right? But we can't forget about the digital age. Social media's got to be huge for PBST consultants.
Absolutely. A slick website, active social media presence, those are non-negotiable these days.
It's your digital storefront, the first impression for potential clients.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of behind-the-scenes content. People love seeing the magic happen.
Oh, for sure, those stringing ASMR videos. Pure gold.
Share valuable content, tips on racket care, new string reviews. That's how you build a following.
Become the go-to guru for all things badminton stringing. Okay, let's talk money. Pricing for specialized services like this can be tricky.
It's not just about covering the cost of strings. You're charging for your expertise, the time you invest, the value you bring to a player's game.
Because ultimately you're helping them win those rallies, maybe even championships.
Exactly. Some consultants charge a flat rate per racket, others go hourly. You can even offer package deals.
Right, it's about finding what works best for you and your target market.
And don't forget about good old-fashioned customer service. Happy clients are your best marketing tool.
Word of mouth is king, so treat those clients right.
Be responsive, be flexible, go the extra mile. Those small gestures make a big difference.
It's about building relationships, becoming their trusted string guru. Okay, last but not least, let's talk tools of the trade. What does every string whisperer need in their arsenal?
Well, first and foremost, you got to have a top-notch stringing machine. That's your baby, your pride and joy.
The Excalibur of the stringing world.
Exactly. You've got your drop weight machines. Those use gravity for tensioning, classic and reliable.
And then there's the electronic ones, right?
Yep, those use a motor for more precision and speed, but they come with a higher price tag.
So it's a trade-off. Got to find that balance between budget and features.
And of course, you need the strings themselves. A good variety from reputable brands, different gauges, different materials. Gotta cater to those different playing styles.
Can't forget about the little things either, right? Cutters, pliers, awls.
Oh, absolutely. Those are essential for fine-tuning and making those precise adjustments.
And I'm guessing a good workspace is key too, not just some makeshift setup in the garage.
Definitely not. Ideally, a dedicated space, well-lit, free from distractions, a place where you can really focus on the craft.
Your stringing sanctuary, a place where magic happens, one racket at a time.
Exactly. But here's the thing. The world of badminton is constantly evolving, and we as stringing experts need to evolve with it.
Okay, so what's next for the string gurus of the world? What does the future hold?
Well, we're already seeing a surge in specialized strings, each one engineered to enhance a specific aspect of the game.
Okay, so more options than ever, which is great, but also maybe a lot daunting. How do you even keep up?
That's where the expertise of a PBST consultant really shines, guiding players through those choices, helping them find that perfect string.
So the future is personalized, customized, super specific stringing.
You got it. But wait, there's more. Data analytics is changing the game big time.
Data analytics on the badminton court. Now you're speaking my language.
Think sensors, wearables, all that good stuff, tracking a player's swing speed, impact point, even the spin they put on the shuttlecock.
It's like Moneyball, but for badminton.
Exactly. And that data can help fine-tune a player's setup with incredible accuracy. We're talking next-level stringing.
So the future is here, and it's data-driven. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of professional badminton stringing.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the technical aspects of stringing to the business savvy needed to succeed.
We talked about the importance of the PBST certification, the challenges and rewards of working with players of all levels, even got a glimpse into the future of stringing.
And through it all, one thing remains clear. Passion, dedication, a genuine desire to help players unlock their full potential. That's what makes a great PBST consultant.
It's about the love of the game, the thrill of the perfect setup, the satisfaction of seeing a player hit that winning shot, knowing you played a small part in their success.
So if you're listening to this and you feel that spark, that excitement bubbling up, maybe it's time to pick up a racket, find a stringing machine, and see where this journey takes you.
You never know. You might just surprise yourself. And on that note, we'll leave you to it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of PBST.
We're the best trainer worldwide, passion and knowledge side by side. From badminton to tennis, we got you covered. Best trainer worldwide.